This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. The Brewers bouncing back in a big way, shutting out the St. Louis Cardinals, winning tonight 6-0. And the story of the night is not the run scored, although we'll get to him. Jacob Misiorowski in his MLB debut. The Miz electric, tossing over 5 hitless innings before exiting that game with a rolled ankle. We'll get to the injury on Misiorowski, and good news, it's not as bad as what we initially had thought while you were watching that game. The bats also backed him up. Jackson Chourio launching a 2-run homer to spark that offense. We got a full breakdown of the night that just might mark the beginning of something special here in Milwaukee. We'll certainly dive into that as the show goes on. My name is Brandon Snide. Welcome into the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. You can follow me on X at Brandon_Snide. You can follow the show wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, and also right here on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit that plus button on the thumbs up button, and give us a follow right here. Thank you for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you this evening. Lots to get to. Your reaction, your thoughts, your comments welcomed in on the program as well. And lots to get to. You know, we talked about Jacob Misiorowski, the bats bouncing back. There are some good injury updates with this Milwaukee Brewers team, and Aaron Savali news that broke earlier this morning. We'll discuss what that exactly was, too, as the show goes on. Let's get real quickly into your scoring summary, brought to you tonight by FanDuel and Game Time. The bottom of the second inning, Bryce Terrain singling on a ground ball to Nolan Arenado. That would score Isaac Collins, give the Brewers a 1-0 lead. And then we get into the 5th inning, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's turning point in the Brewers' 6-0 win over the Cardinals. And tonight, the 5th inning is your turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Talked about this Brewers offense at lengths multiple different times. When those opportunities are there, you have to take advantage of them. The Cardinals' best pitcher, Sonny Gray, on the mound. And who knows, but this Milwaukee Brewers team, when they want to score, they're going to do it against one of the best pitchers, and not only for the Cardinals, but in the National League. Joey Ortiz would double on a line drive. Bryce Terrain would score. That would give the Brewers 2-0 lead. Everybody there, hey, Joey Ortiz, he's hearing the noise. Sal Frelick would follow that up with a single on a live drive to left center. Caleb Durbin and Joey Ortiz would both score. That would give the Brewers a 4-0 lead. And when things were going good, they turned out to be going even better when Jackson Chourio, his 12th homer of the year, straight away dead center. That would score Sal Frelick, who was also on base. A 2-run shot for Jackson Chourio would give the Brewers that 6-0 lead in that 5th, and they would never look back. But let's not bury the lead. Give kudos where kudos is due, but your Milwaukee Brewers won tonight 6-0 over the St. Louis Cardinals in game 1 of a 4-game series. I put it on my X account. This is the series of the season thus far. Not trying to be hyperbolic. You have to win 3 out of 4, and the Brewers come out with a bang in the game 1 of a 4-game series at American Family Field and do so. And without further ado, let's roll right into our player of the game and the Brewers' 6-0 win over those St. Louis Cardinals.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Jacob Misiorowski dominated Nashville. Had all the pressure coming up here in Milwaukee, all the expectations. Everybody waiting on Jacob Misiorowski. Throws in the 100+ mile per hour. You know, can he get his control under control? Can he do the things we've seen him do in the minor leagues? Can he do it at the major league level? In 5 innings of work, did not allow a single hit. 81 total pitches, 49 of them went for strikes, 5 total strikeouts. Those 5 innings, ladies and gentlemen, is the second longest no-hit bid by a Brewers pitcher in his MLB debut, only behind his teammate now, Freddie Peralta, who did it back on was that May 13th, 2018, when he went 5 1/3. Jacob Misiorowski was really special tonight. Also becomes the 9th pitcher since 1901 and the first in franchise history to make his MLB debut and throw at least 5 no-hit innings. And I'm giving you these facts and these numbers here. It just keeps getting better. He threw 14 pitches tonight, 81 total. He threw 14 of them at or above 100 miles per hour. Entering today, before tonight's matchup with the St. Louis Cardinals, keep in mind, Misiorowski threw 14 at 100 or more miles per hour. All Brewers starters had combined for 8 pitches at that speed of 100 or faster throughout the course of the season since pitching tracking became a thing back in 2008. So the Brewers as a team had 8. Misiorowski tonight, 14 on his way to not allowing a hit in 5 innings of work. He's your player of the game. The expectations were there. Brewers fans were eager to see this guy. There was some chatter about his control. I didn't see anything wrong with Jacob Misiorowski tonight when it comes to his control. I thought he was absolutely fantastic in his major league debut. Now, I have Alan over on Twitter, or excuse me, on YouTube. Did Miz get injured? Yes and no, I suppose. It looked like he rolled his right ankle in that 5th inning, getting the ball back from William Contreras. Sophia Minert for the Milwaukee Brewers television broadcast later reported it wasn't actually his ankle, but he was cramping in his calf and his quad. So if you're worried about the injury to Jacob Misiorowski, and rightfully so, because when you see the guy go out there and just shove the way that he shoved the St. Louis Cardinals offense today, I can understand where you might want to be concerned. But it feels like there's really nothing to be concerned about for this Milwaukee Brewers outstanding starting pitcher in Jacob Misiorowski, who gets tonight's Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game. 5 innings pitched, no hits allowed from Jacob Misiorowski in a Milwaukee Brewers. I know it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but that is a very much needed win tonight over the Cardinals. Not only do you win game 1 of this 4-game series and get another win back, because this homestand has been it feels underwhelming for the most part. You get back into the win column. You get a much needed win over a division rival. Not only does Jacob Misiorowski shine in his debut, not only does Jackson Chourio get back into the home run column with a 2-run shot, Sal Frelick with a hit, Joey Ortiz with a double, Christian Yelich with a hit. This Brewers team together as a team, 12 hits tonight for your Milwaukee Brewers offense. So not only does that feel good, you saved most of your bullpen. Nick Mears went 1 inning, and Aaron Ashby finished the game off with the last 3 innings, only allowing 3 hits. So you didn't go into your bullpen a ton, but you hop the St. Louis Cardinals now in the National League Central. You are on top of the Cardinals for now. I mentioned this series as being the I don't want to say make or break, because that's going to seem like a little too hyperbolic, but this is the series of the season so far. The Brewers have to perform well in this series, especially if playoffs and certainly within the National League Central are part of their aspirations, which, if you ask Pat Murphy or any Brewers fan for that matter, they most certainly will. Coming up after the break, we mentioned some injury news updates. We'll get to that. You heard about Miz. Your thoughts on the game, your comments on the game, your reaction to an absolute dominating performance from Jacob Misiorowski in his major league debut. 5 innings of work and not allowing a single hit, 14 pitches, throwing the ball over 100 miles per hour. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were maybe a little concerned, maybe a little worried that does this guy have it? I'm getting goosebumps on the back of my neck just talking about it. He has it. This is something special for this Milwaukee Brewers team. Another pitcher into the depth of the starting rotation for your Milwaukee Brewers. It wasn't too long ago, guys. You and I were sitting here talking, wondering if you or I might have to go make a start for the Milwaukee Brewers on the mound. At one point, Freddie Peralta was your only starter. The Brewers have a plethora of starters on the rotation right now, which also begs the question, what are they going to do about Aaron Savali? He talked pregame about what he wants going forward. We'll dive into that comment as well as all of your thoughts on the Brewers' 6-0 win over the St. Louis Cardinals in game 1 of that 4-game series. We'll get into all of that coming up right after this. Tonight's program is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs, the NBA finals are in full swing every night, delivering highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and those can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There has never been a better time to get in on the action, and FanDuel makes it super, super easy for you to stay in the game before tip-off and during with player props, performance trends, and the same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you got a read on who's heating up, maybe your read tonight was Jacob Misiorowski going 5 innings and not allowing a hit. Why not back it up with a same-game parlay? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe you're going to buy into this Brewers offense. 12 hits, 6 runs. Jackson Chourio with a home run. Joey Ortiz with a double. Maybe you'll buy into them. How could a $200 bonus in bets add to that excitement if your first $5 bet hits? If you're new to FanDuel, today is the perfect time for you to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Once again, place your first $5 bet. If that first $5 bet hits, guys, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. The show tonight is also brought to you by our wonderful friends over at Game Time. I hope tonight was the night that you decided the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family to see Jacob Misiorowski. Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize you got to go out there and see the Miz on the mound, and hopefully you did. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way for you to grab last-minute ticket deals without any of the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, hey, maybe a Misiorowski jersey. I don't know. That might be the next one going in my closet, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. They are the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Maybe you want to go to game 2 for the Milwaukee Brewers at American Family Field. You only got 3 more in this homestand, so you got to get out there. Take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms will apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. I love the app because you can actually see where you're going to sit. It gives you a view of your seat, which is absolutely fantastic. Baseball games, basketball games, concerts, they have it all. It's fantastic. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Once again, that's gametime.com. Your Milwaukee Brewers getting a big win over a division foe, the St. Louis Cardinals, 6-0 today at American Family Field. Jacob Misiorowski was fantastic. 5 innings pitched, didn't allow a single hit. The Milwaukee Brewers offense seemed to kind of wake up a little bit. We mentioned Jackson Chourio with his 12th home run. Joey Ortiz heard the noise, that we were running our mouths about to get him going offensively. A good night at the ballpark for your Brewers. It was electric. And I'm, again, watching on TV, listening on the radio broadcast, an electric game for your Milwaukee Brewers. It felt like a playoff atmosphere. You're going to get those, obviously, when it comes to a pitcher making his major league debut. And Jacob Misiorowski did not disappoint one bit for your Milwaukee Brewers. He's the Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game. Your turning point was that 5th inning where the Brewers would score a boatload of runs en route to a 6-0 win over the Cardinals. And better that, the Brewers now 4 games over 500, 37 and 33. Your reaction on the program always welcomed. We begin with Nick over on YouTube. Player of the game, The Miz. And look what happens when you don't leave a bunch of runners on base. Good team win. Let's go, Brew Crew. It was a good win for your Milwaukee Brewers. And to Nick's point, runners in scoring position tonight, 3 for 4 for your Milwaukee Brewers. Only 4 left on base. When you got the pitching rotation now, now you add Misiorowski to this. I don't think he's going to miss his next start. Again, for those that are hopping on late, it seemed to be more of a cramping issue for Jacob Misiorowski, not anything else. Other than that, that's based on the latest reporting. I'm sure the Brewers will get some imaging done, but the concerns seem to be down for anybody that was concerned with Jacob Misiorowski. Kep over on YouTube, I just want to say this is what we needed. Another fresh face with electric stuff to lead the charge from the mound. I feel like Jacob's velocity definitely helped mentally with the bats. And I think that's, and I agree with you, but I think that's the frustrating part, is because this pitching staff, for the most part all year, has been pretty good. Has there been a game or two? Has there been moments throughout the season? Sure, where, the bats were there. Maybe the pitching wasn't, but it's been few and far between, right? Like this pitching staff, for the most part, has been really, really well. You don't need to score a boatload of runs if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. Not when you have this pitching staff, built the way that we do. And now we mentioned Aaron Savale, who seemingly is not necessarily pounding his fist on the table for a trade, but wants to go to a team where he can become a starting pitcher. Now you have a case where a guy who's been pretty good in Aaron Savale now demanding to kind of either do it here in Milwaukee or elsewhere to be a starter, because you have now a plethora of guys, and that includes hopefully Brandon Woodruff in the near future, Jose Quintana back, Freddie Peralta looking good. You had so many pitchers. Now you had to send Logan Henderson, who's been, maybe before Misiorowski tonight, had the best stuff of the season so far. So it's a good spot for this Milwaukee Brewers team. And yeah, it definitely helps when a guy like that, like Misiorowski, makes his major league debut. The ballpark was electric. The energy, you could feel it, through the broadcast. It was electric, and it was really good to see. And more so because, to your point, you beat a team that you have to beat. You beat a team that you need to beat and that you should beat. The Cardinals coming into this game are not very good as of late. I know their record will say, they're above 500. They're decent. Last 10 games, 3-7. They've now lost 5 in a row, including tonight. They were just swept by the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's a great chance for this Brewers team to kind of pounce on that. Use the energy tonight and pounce on a team that is desperate right now, right? Their best pitcher coming into tonight, Sonny Gray, was 7-1 for the Cardinals. And the Brewers slapped him around in that 5th inning, scoring 5 runs, including a Jackson Chourio home run. Get these guys going. These guys get going offensively, and it doesn't even need to be a ton. Just get going a little bit. And this pitching staff and his defense will carry you to winning more games than losing, way more. Cody over on YouTube. Nice to see the team hit for the team cycle. Miz looked great. A couple of things I'd like to see cleaned up, but other than Ashby frustrating me at times, but overall, great game. Yeah, Aaron Ashby had a moment, right? Go look at the 7th inning. 3 innings, though, guys, with 3 hits and didn't allow any runs. I mean, that's fine, right? In a 6-0 game, I thought Aaron Ashby came in, and I thought he was completely fine. Yeah, I understand the frustration. He lost the control of a curveball in that game, hit a guy in the head, but he bounced back. He bounced back, and more importantly, the Brewers didn't go through that bullpen, right? Because keep in mind, they didn't have an off day prior to this series starting right back up, right? Day game against the Braves on Wednesday and bounced right back for a 4-game series against the Cardinals. So it was important that Aaron Ashby, albeit somewhat annoying, I guess, frustrating, whatever you want to call it, he did allow no runs and just allowing those 3 hits and 3 innings of work to close out the Brewers win. Don over on YouTube. Will the real Milwaukee Brewers please stand up? Amen. Amen. Yeah. And that's the thing. And you hope this is the start of it, Don. And thank you very much for your comment over on YouTube. If you guys got thoughts, you can drop them on here as well. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think for this Milwaukee Brewers team, again, we're not breaking news. We know what they are. We know who they are. We know how they're supposed to win games. We know the manner in which they need to win games. We've been waiting throughout the inconsistency of the first few months of the season with this offense. They have got to start building something consistently for this offense. I did mention some news on the injury updates for the Milwaukee Brewers, and before I lose track of time and keep babbling out of the mouth, there were a slew of Brewer injury updates. We mentioned the starting rotation and the plethora. Robert Gasser beginning to throw live BP this week. Nestor Cortez throwing a bullpen session tomorrow and has been, quote, fairly pain-free. Brandon Woodruff is getting closer from multiple different reports. Still feeling a little bit of pain, but he has improved after taking that line drive off of the elbow. Guys, Robert Gasser, Nestor Cortez, Brandon Woodruff. We saw Jacob Misiorowski tonight. Logan Henderson, who's back in Nashville. Aaron Savale now, as we mentioned, kind of, I don't want to say demanding a trade. I get, he's not pounding his fist on the table. Him and his agent want him to have a showcase type of a year. It's a contract year. Drum over on YouTube. Do you think we should trade Savale and a prospect for Suarez from the Diamondbacks? Yes, I would do that. Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Corbin Burns on the IL, going to need surgery. that's a team that you could look at and be like, you could use a few pitchers here and there. The Brewers have a gold mine of starting pitchers right now. But Drum, to answer your question, yes, I would absolutely, without a doubt, make that trade. Storm over on YouTube, kind of agreeing there with Drum. Brewers should trade Savali for a third baseman. It would be a long shot, but bringing Willie back, who can only hit in Milwaukee, isn't a horrible idea if you get San Francisco to eat that contract. I doubt either one of those things were going to happen, but if the Brewers were presented an opportunity to bring Willie back, I would imagine they would pounce on that. I guess we'll see what happens with that contract, but I don't think San Francisco is willing to give up on Willie Adames 2.5 months into the season. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this Brewers team going into the trade down lineup. But to answer all of your guys' question, the Brewers have to keep winning if they're going to be buyers instead of sellers at this trade deadline. We can talk about the third baseman, that who you want to go out and trade. We can talk about trading Aaron Savali, who might get traded regardless. But nonetheless, if you want to be serious buyers at the trade deadline and compete going forward, you have to continue winning games. And as Greg says over on YouTube before we begin to wrap up the show, just sweep the Cards and they are done. And that's why I said for this series, for your Milwaukee Brewers, you have got to get at minimum 3 out of 4. Anything less than that, to me, would be a failure because you kind of let your foot off the gas against the Padres offensively, and you certainly let your foot off the gas against the Atlanta Braves, who were really bad coming into Milwaukee. And you enter today, prior to tonight's win, with a 2-4 homestand. So far, you improve now to 3-5, but you got to continue to win these games that you should win. And it starts again tomorrow. Freddie Peralta on the mound for your Milwaukee Brewers. And we'll see if they can get win number 2 against these Cardinals in Game 2 over at American Family Field. My thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in and always making Locked On Brewers part of your day. Remember, wherever you get podcasts, you can get this program. Just search Locked On Brewers, Apple, Google, Spotify, all those wonderful apps, and everything can be found over on YouTube. Just hit that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and get us when we go live, and we'll pick it right back up tomorrow night as it's the Brewers and Cardinals in Game 2 at American Family Field. And as always, win, lose, or draw, tonight certainly feels special with Jacob Misiorowski shining in his MLB debut. It is always win, lose, or draw. Go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone.